1, 2, 1, 2, keep it on. Listen to the shit because we work until dawn. Listen to
So yeah, I got my wisdom teeth out.
Yeah.
That sucked so many different kinds of
Why are you
varieties
doing that
of
now
ass.
as an old man versus like when the rest of us did it?
Why? Look at me trying to grow my beard for the first time. Guess what I decided
Late
to play
bloomer.
the other day? I played some more Metal Gear Solid 4 because I never played it before, and apparently some part of me thinks it is 2005.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Well-
doing that. I'm playing back through Metal Gear. There are a few like massive holes, just like these.
Don't say massive holes because I'll think about my mouth.
It's very sensitive.
Can I just poke you in the
subject
cheek?
here.
But there are like some big like missing pieces of my video game knowledge, and it's like one of those
Totally.
things where like a game will just come out at the wrong time, or like you'll be really into something else, and then years later like you don't understand half of the internet memes that exist.
Video games
Yeah, definitely.
are the dumbest, most long, big thing to pay attention to. It's like a book that will stop you from reading it because it's too hard. And also you cannot take it with you on the bus. It is
Right.
video games. It's a big time of commitment, and there's a lot of them. that
Yeah,
I
and
have
when I
not
actually
played.
do want to dedicate that time, I want to play the games I actually love, and I'll replay them over and over and over
Yeah.
versus like feeling like I have to start
Is
this
there
whole
one?
series.
Is there
What
like
is-
one
what is
particular
yours?
series that you feel like you missed out on?
Well, two in particular. Number one is definitely Resident Evil. It's just never been something I've been super interested in playing, but I feel like I need to, and I need to know it. And
That's
same
a big
with
one.
Mass Effect.
The missing out of Resident Evil is like a big, weird, fluctuating chart.
Yeah.
Because there's like, how many games are there? There are not just
All of
6.
them.
Like,
There
no,
are so
because there's
many-
like in between ones
there's,
that aren't
like,
even considered part of the whole thing.
0.
This is one of those ones where if you pick up the series now, like if you play Resident Evil 5, you probably don't want to go back and play
But
the other
I
Resident
do,
Evil
and that's
game.
why I don't ever play them. Is
But-
because I don't want to just start at the very end.
But that's the
it's
thing, is like
I'm not gonna play all of them.
it's fallen off so hardcore.
Yeah.
Like the series has just fallen off. You do feel, because you haven't played the first couple Resident Evil games, like you know that the entire horror genre is like built on it.
Yeah.
You know that there are these kind of tropes and in video games and these kind of things that are part of the genre just because of Resident Evil. And you feel like you kind of owe it to Resident Evil to play it, right?
Or to even any other game, like
Right.
when you play Left 4 Dead or whatever other, kind of horror zombie games,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of feel like you're not as, you can't really say as much or really involve yourself in the game if you don't have the experience of kind of where it was built off of.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
no, I think that's dumb. I think that's Resident Evil. Resident Evil
it depends
took-
on how hardcore and
No,
nerdy you
no.
want to get.
Anybody who's like, oh, you enjoyed Left 4 Dead, but you haven't played Resident Evil, you beat them up because they are too into video games. As far as I'm
There
concerned,
are people-
if you're like hardcore into like Resident Evil, but you haven't seen any zombie movies, that's when you shush your face because there's bad news there. Resident Evil, there's a lot of
Yeah.
games, there's a lot of canon there. It kind of starts as like, hey, zombies in a haunted house, and it kind of goes off to like, why are there zombies in Africa? And
Yeah.
there's all these umbrellas everywhere and raccoons and stuff, and it's like Kirby's Dream Land.
Raccoon.
I would love to
Final-
play a Raccoon Umbrella, the video game. or
Final
Umbrella
Fantasy
Raccoon.
is my thing that I know that I probably should have played, maybe 6, 7, or 8. Some people say 9.
That
So
is
are you
a
talking
deep,
about-
deep pool to wade through at
For
this
real,
point.
are you talking about like the tactics, or are you talking about like
there
the
are
MMOs?
there
or?
are so many final they're up to 13-2.
Yeah,
That's a lot of games.
exactly, and they're
Which,
all
based
different.
on based on that naming convention, you don't know how many there could possibly be out there.
You never know,
13.
dude.
There could be 37 Final Fantasy games out
Dude,
there.
that's
right
like
now.
somebody who's like so tired they don't even know how to tell time. Their like alarm goes off and they're like, "Oh my god, it's like 6:80 in the morning. I can't read the clock anymore. It's 13-2. What does that mean?" They're on like military sequels.
It shows how like sprawling and just crazy in depth the series has gotten now.
And at the same time, there's not like one canon. There's some
Yeah.
recurring things, There's like
You get recurring races, you get
nobles
recurring
and
places.
airships. There's
Yeah,
menus, a
Mhm.
lot
There's
of menus.
a lot of recurring menus.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like you could play the highlights of that series and be fine.
Even
right?
then, that's a huge investment.
It is a
of
huge
time.
Absolutely.
investment.
That
I
is.
picked a bad one.
I don't. Dude, it's like I could
impossible.
go and I could play some Final Fantasy and I could have that wonderful heartfelt reaction to. This is the thing: is playing a game like Final Fantasy VII. It's not like playing it when it came out. You're playing it after
Yeah.
everyone's hyped it the shit up for like a decade and a
Yeah.
half.
Exactly.
Going back and playing it, it's not going to be like a kick in the stomach. You're gonna play it. You're gonna be like, oh, that's
And you're gonna know all the story points because they're all over.
And
They're
it's like,
everywhere.
and you think about all those hours that, all those times that you were doing other stuff instead of playing Final Fantasy, and it's like, maybe you didn't miss out.
Yeah.
Maybe you were learning how to ride a dirt bike. Maybe you were making love to a lady. Maybe that's why you didn't play a video
And I mean,
game.
even if you were into a different genre of games at the time, or you were playing a different game at the time, it's like, it's still fine. But you do feel like I do have this like little like thing, this nagging thing in the back of my head when I miss out on a major franchise. Like, I have not played through Mass Effect.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Mass
that
Effect
I
is sitting there,
haven't.
and everybody's like, "Oh, well, just skip to 2 and play through it." And I'm like, "But I can't."
And now
because
they're
I
saying
know,
skip to 3.
because I
and it's
know
like,
that like everything you do in every game is gonna branch, and I'm just staring at it. And I'm like, if I start this now, I'm looking at 60 to 70 hours of gameplay.
Yeah. And
Am I
that's a
ready
bigger
for this?
roadblock when you
Am I
are
ready
going
for
into
this?
it,
Yeah.
and that's why you never probably will ever get back to it. So then, when you think about wanting to play, these games that you feel like you have to, do you ever get to the point where you're about to start it, you have it loaded and you're ready to go, but you just don't? Or
Yes.
do you spend a few minutes on it and then
I've done that with like
I've
with Mass Effect. Like, I've looked at
I
it.
did that
it's
2
just,
years ago.
It's just like sitting there, and I'm like,
Like, all right, we're doing this tonight.
here we go. Here we go,
It's
Shepard.
happening.
But now, because I know the weight of everything that's coming, like,
It's
for somebody who
too
started
much.
Mass Effect when Mass Effect started, it's like, oh, do I want to be like dude Shepard or
Exactly,
lady
and that's
Shepard?
part of the
Oh, I'll
fun.
play through it. But you didn't know that like 70 hours was coming. So now
Yeah.
I'm like looking and I'm like, when I decide what this guy looks like, this is it for 75 hours.
Yeah.
I love
Here
when
we
people
go.
are like, you got to do something for your next playthrough. Like, try it on your next playthrough. And I'm like, I could play through this game again, or I could play any one of the bajillions of other games out there.
And that's what happens to me is I have like a few games that I just fucking love, and I would rather play those 2, 3, 4 times in a row than start investing in a game that I feel like I have to play.
I rewatch the hell out of movies, and I reread the hell out of books, and it's like, I never really understood why I did that. And I was at my dad's house watching like Lord of the Rings for the 11th millionth time or
Boo.
something. Lord of the Rings is awesome.
Bored.
And my dad's like, haven't you already seen this? And my stepmom's like, leave him alone. It's like his favorite song. Don't you ever listen to your favorite song more than once? And I'm like, that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
I can kind of dig that. And I can see why that, like, I'm playing Super Metroid again.
I played
for, like,
Psychonauts and like Wind Waker like at least 4 times.
Yeah, I played Link to the Past
Yeah.
and Minish Cap like a whole bunch of
Yeah.
times. Because Zelda's cool, and I like those games.
And it's just fun. I don't feel like I have to.
Yeah.
And that's where like my roadblock comes in is I feel like I need to. And like there's so much of it that I just am like, fuck it.
I think the main problem here is the second you feel like you need to play a game,
Homework!
it stops being
Yeah.
a game.
Well, I mean,
The very function of a game is to have fun, and then if you're just like, okay, well, I got to get through this because everybody else has gotten through this, and I've heard that I have to do this.
and it's a lot more pressure because
Yeah.
here you are starting number 1.
And you've got
when
like
everyone
3
else is
other
on number
games. You've got
8
like 2
million.
other games coming out that month, and you're just like, man, but I really want to play this,
Yeah.
and it's coming out, and it's new.
Some shit just passes you by, and
Yeah.
what the fuck are you gonna do?
What the fuck are you gonna do, man?
What the fuck are you gonna do?
Hoes gotta eat too.
Yeah, shit just passes you by sometimes. That's deep.
We're getting old.
Ew, we are though.
I'm not even going down this road with you guys.
Oh god.